There we go. As you can see, Frankfurt has a lot of high-rises, and therefore every 2 years there is a competition organized by the German Architectural Museum about the best high-rise in the world. The idea of the competition is to show what is the best around the world in the realm of high-rises, so to push the envelope among the local developers. Together with this competition, there is also an exposition in the Museum of Architecture. This year will be in the Museum of Design, so let's go and let's check it out. The building of the museum was designed by Richard Meyer. Very beautiful, white building, very Le Corbusier style, let's say. This year the high-rise prize exposition is in this building because the architectural museum is under reconstruction. There are some groups of architects going around visiting the exposition too with a tour guide. We will need to deal with this because they're very loud, huge group. I'm gonna show you around the models of the winners, which are 3XN. Also, if you haven't watched our podcast with Fred Holt, who was the lead architect and partner in charge, you can go check it somewhere here. There will be a link, and let's see what is around this exposition. The competition was started in 2004 and the prize is given away every 2 years. Here you can see the history. Among others, there are very famous projects like Bosco Verticale in Milan, skyscraper from Norman Foster, what you see over here. Our friends with Big, Via 57, we did a video about that high-rise too, and also the Norra Tornen in Sweden by OMA. Every time the prize is given away, the winner architect gets a copy of this beautiful sculpture by German artist Thomas Demand. As you can see, it looks like a stack of paper, which then forms a high-rise. Here you can see the gigantic model that 3XN has delivered this year for the exposition of the best high-rise in the world, and this is the Quay Quarter Tower. I can go around the tower to show you a little bit more. You can see the iconic terraces. They're stacked on top of each other. 5 big volumes that recreate the human scale with the very edgy form. They're getting these terraces from which you can have different views on the cities, and they minimize the shadings. What makes these designs so special this year is that in fact it's the extension and the reuse of an existing tower that was already there, which is in this more squared side of the building. Through this diagram you can understand better the concept. So you get 5 volumes that are more on the human scale, and you stack them on top of each other by creating these terraces that allow interaction between the different floors, and also it's a very easier to communicate of a terrace just 7 stories above than if you have a terrace every 20 stories or so. Here you can have the beautiful pictures of the atrium and the different shapes of the building. So you can see they maintain the core of the existing building. Everything you see here, it's existing, and they just expand this area here with a new structure that allow them to save up to 7,200 or 500 tons of CO2, which is the equivalent to 35 New York, Frankfurt flights. You can see the section of the buildings. They created these beautiful cutoffs, these atriums that are extending across multiple stories. And as Fred Holt told me in the podcast, in case of fire, these atriums will be completely closed by fire safety curtains, which will drop, and so the people inside of the building will be in complete safe. With these diagrams you can understand better what was the concept behind. So the brief of the competition was to maintain as much as possible of the existing building. Here you can understand better how the building worked. There was this existing tower in the middle. The gray is what 3XN demolished, and this is what they kept, and this is how they have extended the whole structure of the tower. This shortened the building time by a year. Of course, when you do a project like this, you'll need to have a lot of variations. So here we can see there are some variations of the structure, different options. There are many experiments that weren't successful. And of course, you can see the huge model compared. I'm 1.90 m, and I think the model is taller than I am. You can see among the finalists of this year, there is also the Vancouver house of Björk Ingels. Very beautiful tower, which looks quite similar to the 3XN project with this facade, which is kind of meshed. Plot here is that they have this restriction of a triangular shaped plot, and they have to maintain a certain distance to the highway. So what they solved is to maximize the surface by extending the tower when they achieved the height to maintain a spherical distance to the highway, so that here expands and maximize the value of the real estate. Great project, but of course I think a big factor was that 3XN managed to keep a big amount of CO2 in the existing structure. We can see other finalists, the Bryant. This is a tower in New York. It was designed by Chipperfield Architects, which is a very present office here in Germany, also globally, and based in London, with this very Manhattan classic structure in front of the Bryant Park, which is one of the most epic parks in New York, in the core in New York, right next to the National Library. You can see some of the other nominated projects. We have more from Big, also from a office where I was used to work, Cyrus Moser Architects, Park Avenue from Foster and Partners, and you can see that the list is quite long and there are a lot of buildings. That was it from the exposition. The space was very small for all these models, and of course due to the reduced space there were not as many models as usually many projects send some of their work, some of their models. Tried my best to show you a little bit of some world-class architecture and world-class models. You can go check the extended podcast with Fred Holt, lead architect of the Quay Quarter Tower. And also don't forget to like, subscribe, and enjoy the other videos of the channel. Thank you. Bye bye.